Hey, what's up? This is Seth, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about telecommuting, remote, work from home positions in the field of digital marketing. Now, I get this question all the time. Can I work from home and do this job? And the answer is yes. However, it's not as easy to get a remote job as it is to get an in-house job. Most of the jobs, when I go to LinkedIn here, and I type in digital marketing and I see 6,875 jobs, most of those jobs are in-house 9-to-5 day jobs. They want someone, if they're going to hire you as an employee, most of these companies want you to be there. However, you can find remote positions. It just requires more patience and more work to do it. So I'm going to show you some examples of some of these remote jobs. So one thing you want to do is, and then I'm going to talk about freelancing versus a job, because you can actually work for yourself, work from home without having a job. You're actually going to be doing something called freelancing, where you're really getting your own clients, but you don't have a 9-to-5 type regular paycheck. And that's actually something I really encourage in my students. But before we get to that, let's talk about some of these jobs. So I went to New York City. Now, this is the great thing about remote, is that obviously you don't have to live in New York. You just go to their job section and type in digital marketing and then click telecommute. And you can see these are jobs where they've said it's okay to telecommute. So one of them I found is SEO analyst, conducting SEO audits, performing keyword research, on-page optimization. This is all the stuff we teach in the course. And there, of course, like every other video I do where they say 3 years of recent experience is required. Again, because these companies do not have an abundance of skilled applicants, you can get into these positions often without that much experience. I've had students, I have that 19-year-old like Kudzai who got the SEO job. He's 19 and he's working remotely. So right here it says this position is part-time and virtual. We're headquartered in New York. We have team members across the USA. Boom, that is an opportunity right there. Here's another one, junior e-commerce consultant. E-commerce, this is like really hilarious too. This is the same thing where they say we want someone who's junior, but they should have 2 years of direct proven experience, which is like stupid. It's again, this is when I do my other videos and I talk about the language, the fact that it says junior and that they want to train you means that this is something that you could realistically be considered for, and it says telecommuting okay down here. Got another one, Culver City. This is in Los Angeles. And again, I did the same thing. I went to the Los Angeles website, typed in digital marketing telecommute, and found this one. Again, 2 years minimum experience, blah, blah, blah. That's what I show you how to do in the course. And then this is another one where, actually, this one doesn't really talk about the telecommuting, but it says it right here. So anytime it says that, you should feel free to apply for that and ask if remote work is possible. You can always apply for jobs anyway and ask them. Once you have the skills that I teach in the course, one of the things I teach people is to get your 6 months or your 1 year of experience in a in-house job. So you really feel confident, and then you can go anywhere and ask about remote positions, and you'll be taken more seriously when you have that, when you actually feel that confidence that you've worked on accounts. It's easier to do. I had been about 3 years into the field, and I had jumped from my 6-figure job to another job that paid about 80-something thousand, and a recruiter contacted me, and he said it's 75,000. And I was, well, I'm making 80-something. He said, oh, but it's remote. I said, oh. And he had contacted me. So there's more opportunities the further you go in this field. Here's another one. SEO specialist. This one's in Phoenix. Development natural organic search engine campaigns, creation of pay-per-click, SEO PPC. This is what we talk about. Clear understanding paid search, experience with search engine submissions, organic optimization, blah, blah. And telecommuting okay. I love this job posting, by the way. Check this out. Go to our website and submit your proposal. Submitting a proposal offering only generic services will be discarded. That's great. That means they're getting shit resumes. They're getting shit applicants. And whenever you see that, you could be like, ha ha ha, I'm a quality applicant. I have these skills. I know how to talk and actually, submit a compelling resume or practice SEO strategy campaign or any of those things, and I'll be taken more seriously. But again, telecommuting, okay. Here's another one. This one's in Denver. Luminary Digital. Proactively manage, test, improve, and measure marketing performance, increase campaign performance, manage SEM campaigns, 1 to 3 years of digital marketing experience. Again, remember, anything where it says 1 to 3 years of experience, that's always a great sign, because that's a huge difference, right? Like 1 to 3 years experience, the difference between someone who's a rookie and someone who's like could be a manager at any other job. But in this field, they don't have as many people to choose from. Now, this is an interesting one because they want you to meet in Denver. So this would be an interesting position where, and I see this sometimes where some of the in-house jobs have telecommuting options, where you work in the office 3 days a week, but you can work at home 1 or 2 days a week. In this case, you could potentially negotiate with them to come in every 2 weeks. You might have to fly to Denver, but again, it's better than it's better than working in an office if that's not what you want to do. Here's another one. Facebook manager part-time. I think this is in San Diego. No, Boston. Develop Facebook ads, analyze, tweak campaigns, experience with digital ads, one you experience. Remote position. Now it says remote, and then it says we're looking for someone in the greater Boston region who is able to meet when needed. Again, this says to me they're looking, I don't want to say they're desperate, but the fact that they're looking for a remote means that you can potentially, again, negotiate with them about how often you actually have to come into that office. Then you can do agency searches or just use Google. I just Googled like telecommute or, telecommute PPC jobs. And I think that's how I found. Oh, by the way, here's a great example of how in demand these jobs are in general. This agency is advertising. That means they're paying money. When I click this, they just paid money, and I feel kind of bad about that, actually. I should have just copied and pasted. But they need employees. So they're actually advertising on Google to try to find people. Associate paid search manager. Now, I don't think this is a remote position, but it's just another, I love doing these job videos because there's just so many of them. It's insane. I think that's where I found this, Pushfire, right? So this is an agency, and it says, all positions listed below are remote telecommuting positions. Candidates can reside anywhere in the United States. Same thing, PPC account manager, everything. These are the same types of jobs my students are getting. And I love this. Required education. There's no formal education requirements. If you fit all the above requirements, you can be considered for the position because they just want someone who can do the damn job. This one here. So those are a few examples. But what I really teach my students is, this is another, there's a few websites too, like this one's called Working Nomads that often has remote jobs. This one, Flex Jobs. So like I said, they're just not as common. Like this is AdWords specialist, digital media specialist, digital media instructor. I could do that, but I don't want to. Paid search account manager. You can see these are posted a while back, so they're just not as many. That's the thing. But they're out there. So I say, if you really want it, look for it. That's how Kudzai got his. I mean, I was amazed that when he said to me, I got hired as a. And then Facebook advertising, remote, okay. You can look PPC remote. You can use Indeed, and just this one looks interesting. 20 to 30 an hour contract. Slack, Google Analytics, data analysis, AdWords, all the stuff we talk about. And here's another one. This one's in Brooklyn. So these jobs are out there. But what I encourage you to think about is freelancing versus a job. So freelancing is, I'm not going to type it all out there. Freelancing is basically where you work for yourself. You are a skilled technician, a skilled laborer of some kind, and you hire your services out to various companies. And the trade-off is that you are not an employee, so you don't get health benefits and they don't take taxes out of your paycheck. You have to do that yourself. However, on the flip side, you have freedom. You can freelance for multiple companies. You can freelance and charge your own rates. Freelancing is very powerful, and that's also why I encourage my students when they say, can I get a job? Can I get a job? I say, think about freelancing and entrepreneurship. You can get your own clients. You can literally walk into the pizza shop down the street and get them as a client. I've had students do this. And then you have someone who's going to be paying you hundreds or potentially thousands of dollars a month, and they work right for you, really. Well, you work for them, but in a way they're working for you because you don't have to work on their schedule. And that's work from home and freelance work, remote work. I have my client that I talk about in the course, Buck Steele. I've been working for them remotely for the last, I don't know how long it's been. It's been more than a year. And they're one of my clients, and I can work on their account whenever I want. Upwork is the main resource I recommend. It is a freelance marketplace. And I want you to just look at the number of jobs. So if I type in SEM, I see 1,500 jobs. If I type in AdWords, I see 2,000 jobs. If I type in SEO, I see 11,000 jobs. If I type in, let's see, analytics, let's see that one, 4,000 jobs. If I type in social media, I see 11,000 jobs. There's a fucking shitload of jobs on Upwork. But remember, these are not jobs. This isn't where, I got hired. Oh, look, Mom, I got a job. I'm going to go in there 40 hours a week and go to the, get employee of the month and go to the company picnic and all that shit. It's going to be, and by the way, there are great companies that do those things. I kind of make fun of them because I think it sounds a little bit like school. But when you freelance and you get a job, it's a contract, so it's limited. They might hire you for 2 weeks, they might hire you for 2 months, they might hire you for 2 years. You don't know. You negotiate that with each client, and you have to submit proposals and sort of win over these clients to prove that you are the best person for the job. And I talk about that in the course because even if you're just starting out, you can do this, and you can actually charge more than you think. There's a whole conversation about that, about the fact that there's people in other countries who charge really low amounts, but you'll be surprised that good companies will pay decent money for quality work. But the point is, this is technically work from home or remote positions because you're never ever going to meet any of these people and you work on your own schedule. The other thing is, this is how you can make more money. So one of the things I like to tell my students is that even if you do get a great job, which a lot of them do, if you're making, if your entry-level job is $40,000 a year, that's awesome. And then in a year or two, you can be up to, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. That's wonderful. But the great thing about this field is that, so long as you don't have a non-compete, you can do additional work. You can get additional clients. And I have friends that do that. They have a full-time job. Some of them make $90,000, $100,000 a year, and then they have their own clients on the side. So that means they're just increasing their income. When you freelance, there's no limit to how many clients you can get. So if you can get someone paying you $500 a month, or you can get someone paying you $1,500 a month, and we talk about that in the course, that's awesome. Well, how many clients can you get? Because remember, when you have a client, and even when you work at an agency, no client, unless you work directly for a company, no client is going to take 160 hours, whatever it is, a month. You're not going to spend, it's not like, $500 a month. Okay, that's all I'm making. No, you work on this client for a few hours, you work on that client for a few hours. Well, how many clients can you get? And then the sky's the limit. There's no cap. Now, even if you're making, $90,000 a year, which is great money, and you're doing 40 hours a week, your take home is like, honestly, with taxes and stuff, depending on what state you in, are in, the government takes a lot of your money. And so you're going to be left with ultimately maybe $1,200 a week or something like that. Really, $90,000 goes way down. And that's something they don't tell you in school. I remember when I started making six figures, I was like, hell yeah. And then I looked at my paycheck and I suddenly understood why Republicans hate taxes, because I should have been taking home $100,000, but realistically, with all the taxes, especially in California, it's almost half your money. It's not half, but I mean it's pretty close. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it's definitely like you make $100,000 a year. You're not bringing home 2 G's a week. You're bringing home more like a G plus a week. So you're limited in your job. But when you freelance, again, you can just, how many people do you want to stack up? Obviously, you have to pay tax on that. But the other thing about freelancing is that There's also more opportunities to write off expenses and reduce your tax burden, but that's a whole other conversation. But the point is, freelancing is really literally frees you up to work wherever you want, get clients, and that's why I tell my students in the course, don't limit yourself. If you do get a job, get freelance clients on Upwork, and also get your own clients locally. And how many can you handle? Just keep adding it up. Why wouldn't you want an extra 5-10 grand a month in income, or even an extra $1,000 a month? I mean, it adds up. It's great. So anyway, I think that's about it. The last thing I wanted to do is kind of address international students or international subscribers. So I get this question a lot, which is, I'm in India, I'm in Europe, can I get a job with a US-based company? Because that's kind of obviously America's still very appealing economically and people want to work for an American company. The answer is no. Okay, you're not going to get a job if you live overseas with a US company. There's all sorts of laws preventing that. Most employers in the US can only hire for employment US citizens. And when we get hired, we have to show proof of our citizenship, show a passport or social security card or whatever. So I got to say that because, you're not going to get a job. But you can freelance for U.S. companies. And that's totally legal and totally doable. And it's done all the time. I've hired tons of people overseas. I've hired people in India. I've hired people in Europe to work for me as independent contractors. And that's totally legal. So you just have to change your thinking. Instead of saying, I want a job with a company based in the U.S., say, I want to freelance for a U.S. company. And if you learn what's in the course and learn how to do this job well and present yourself well, then you could command a higher wage than maybe some other people in your country. Because especially in places like India and in Eastern Europe, there's kind of a race to the bottom on Upwork. And one of the things I talk to my students about is how you don't want to do that. You don't want to come in and start underpricing and charging $2 an hour for your services because it cheapens you. You actually can charge more for your services, and people actually respect higher prices if you can present yourself properly and actually deliver. But anyway, that's for the international students. And again, if you're domestically in the U.S., there are companies and agencies like this where they say, where is it? Candidates can reside anywhere in the United States. So there's a lot of options. You just, like I tell everyone who joins the course, you have to work hard, absorb this material, do what I say in the course, and look for these jobs. Look for these jobs. They are out there. You just got to find them. So anyway, guys, I love talking about all the opportunities in this field. As you can see, there's tons of them. I hope this video was helpful. If you have questions, comments, feel free to leave them below, and I'll see you soon.